Hi. Okay, so this is Nicole, and so I'm having one of those days today where I just really want to talk about, what's been going on in my life and air some things out that have been bothering me for any amount of time. And I just figured, why not today? I have nothing else going on, so here's just like this is mostly going to be about my mom, and the cutoff, from her. Um, It started last March. Um, well, let me back up to February. Last February, February of 2015. So I had this trip, surprise trip, kind of, to go down and visit Jimmy in Ohio, um, after he left, and we were like he sent me money so I could have gas money to get down there, and then I also got paid, so I would have money while I was down there because I think I was leaving before I got paid. I can't remember how that worked, but no, I don't remember. Whatever, it doesn't matter. He sent me money, and then I also got paid at the same time, so whatever. Um, and I don't know what happened. Um, Jimmy paid for the food while we were there. We did do a little bit of shopping, like nothing big or anything like that. I did get a few things from Torrid. I think I spent like $100 there, but like nothing huge. And I don't know what happened. And so him and I, on the last night before I left, I took him to dinner and then had to get cash out for the bridge. And when we took the cash out, it said I only have $50 left in my checking account. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, my paycheck was, at that time, maybe almost $500. And he sent me 110. So where the fuck did all my money go? I have no idea. To this day, I was still never able to figure it out. The bank said everything matched up, but I still doesn't understand. I don't understand what happened. Um, and so then I was freaking out because I was like, $50 is not enough gas to get me home. Like, I had a quarter of a tank of gas when I got to his house that day. I had a quarter of a tank of gas, and he did all the driving while we were there, so I never took my car out again. So I had to fill it up before I left. And then I was like, that's not going to be enough. And Kevin was trying to give me money. Jimmy's stepdad, Kevin. And I was like, no, listen, that's not going to happen. And he was like, why are you being so stubborn? Like, why don't you take his money? And I was like, I can't do that. That's just not right. I came here. I stayed with you guys for free. You guys paid for everything. That's not right. So that's just me. That's just who I am. And so, that's how it all started. So I left that day with the $50 that I had, and I filled up. It took $32, so I had like $17 left, I think, and because it wasn't exactly 50, it was a little bit more than 50, and so I had like $17 I think left, and I got to oh shit, what's that town right before the bridge? Um, St. Ignace. I got there and was down to a quarter of a tank of gas, and I was like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. Like, so I stopped at the Holiday there and put prepaid the remaining $15 that I had because I wasn't sure exactly how much it was. But I knew I had 15. And and then I went to go pump, and they have those double-sided pumps, or had them at the time. I don't know if they still do, but the double-sided pumps where you have to pick the right one, and they have the premium on this side and the regular on this side, and you have to make sure you pick. So I picked up the premium, not even thinking about it, and I started pumping, and I looked, and I was like, oh, fuck. So Oh my God. Um, so I went back in and she was like, "Oh, that's okay. It happens all the time. I'll just refund it back to your card and then we'll charge you whatever's left." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine." So she refunds it and then tries to charge it again and it won't go through. And I'm like, "Oh, what do you mean it won't go through?" And she was like, "It won't go through. You must not have it." She was like, "It must not return right away." Then I was like, "My bank has a 24-hour hold on all transactions. This is not my bank any longer," for future references. Um, so I'm just freaking out. I called Jimmy crying and he was like, "I don't know what you want me to do about it." And I was like, "Talk to me. I'm freaking out. Like, what do I do?" And he was like, "Well, call your dad." So I call my dad and he says literally the exact same thing. "What do you want me to do about it?" And I was like, "I don't know, Dad. Figure something out. Help me here. I'm gonna die. Like, it's negative 45 fucking degrees outside. I have no way of getting home. What am I supposed to do?" And he was like, "Well, you're always doing such stupid things." And I was like, "Fuck you, you piece of shit." And I hung up on him. And I was on the phone with Sam. Oh, no, hold on. So I driving along and I called Jimmy back and I told him exactly what my dad was said. I was like, "I fucking told you this is what he was going to do, blah, blah, blah." I was really fucking mad. And so then while I'm on the phone with Jimmy, I get this phone call from my mom and I was like, fuck. And I picked up and I was like, "Hey, Mom," I'm trying to pretend like nothing was wrong. My mom is the last person I wanted to go to for help because I knew that she would use this as a way to rub something in my face. "Oh, I did this and this for you. What do you do for me?" "Nothing, you piece of shit." It happens. So she was the last person I wanted to talk to. She called and I was like, "Hey, Mom." And she's like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Nothing, I'm just driving." And she was like, "Where the fuck are you?" And I was like, "I'm on, I don't, whatever that fucking road is." And she's like, "Why the fuck are you back there? The weather's bad, blah, 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 blah." I was like, "Mom, the weather's bad everywhere." And she was like, "Your father called me." And I was like, "Fucking of course he did." And she was like, "What the fuck is going on?" I was like, "I don't have enough gas to get home and I don't fucking know what I'm gonna do. So like, I called Dad and I didn't want to call you." And she was like, um, "Get to that fucking town." I can't remember what town it is. It's that one, the only town right there in the middle. It starts with an E and I can't, whatever. It doesn't matter. She's like, "Get there, get to the fucking gas station, and I'll give them my credit card over the phone." And I was like, "Okay, Mom. Okay." And so then I called Sam and I was like, "Dude, I'm freaking out, blah, 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 blah." And then I get fucking pulled over and I was like, unbelievable. So the guy was like, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" And I was like, "'Cause I was speeding." And he was like, "How fast were you going?" And I said, 65. And he was like, "And where are you going?" And I said, "To Marquette." And he was like, "Where were you?" And I was like, "In Ohio." And he was like, "For what?" And I was like, "I was visiting somebody." And he was like, "Okay, so why I pulled you over is because you keep crossing the fog line over there." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I was on my phone. I'm trying to get home and I don't have enough gas to get there." And he looked and he was like, "Yeah, no, you really don't." And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Tonight's not the night to be fucking around. Get to a gas station." And I was like, that's where I'm going because my mom is gonna put some gas in my car and give them the credit card over the phone." And he was like, "Yeah, good plan. Just make sure they do that because otherwise you're going to be screwed." And I was like, "Yes, sir." And then he let me off and he was like, "Just drive carefully and do not speed if I catch you speeding." I was like, "I got you." And I sped the whole way home anyways, but whatevs. So that's kind of where this all begins. Because, like I said, she used this as an excuse to treat me poorly up until the day I cut her off. we, my mom and I have a very toxic relationship as it is. And we've never gotten along. It's always been very at each other's throats. I hate you more. And I mean, that's just how I grew up. See, and this is for Elise right here. When I told you that I like watching you and Malcolm together, it's because I didn't know that. That wasn't how I grew up. I didn't grow up with a mom who sat on the floor with me playing and wanted to be around me. I grew up with a mom who called me a crybaby, told me that I needed to start growing up and behaving myself. That's what I knew up until the day that her and I stopped talking. So when I say I like watching, and this goes to all of my friends with children, I love watching you raise your children because it's an inspiration to me. Because I didn't have that kind of relationship with my mom. And I love seeing that that's a real thing that people do, is they love their children and they want to spend time with their children. That's what I mean when I say that. So, her and I, like I said, we've always had a really, really toxic relationship. And we would fight, and my sister didn't want to live in Marquette anymore, and she wanted to quit her job and move home with my mom, and I didn't have a job at the time, so I had to. That was my only option. And we moved in March, and I moved out of there in July. No, the end of June, because I could not take it anymore. We could not be around each other. And she made excuses for everything. And it was always me. It was never my sister. Oh, well, your sister, she cleans. Oh, your sister, she cooks dinner. I did the same things. Different days. And it was always fucking Danielle. Danielle always did right. Danielle always did this. Danielle always did this. And I always fucked everything up. For the 3 months that I lived there, I had to run away 3 times and come here and bounce from couch to couch, begging people to let me stay with them because I could not take it. And then so I moved here, and now fast forward to last year when I finally called it quits. We had gotten into another fight about the fucking dog. Molly was gonna kill Sammy again. And she never fucking listens. And one day she's gonna kill him. He is 15 pounds and she's like 100. He is also 15 years old. So we got into another fight about the dog, and she was like, you only come here when you need something, and you only call me when you need anything, and when I do things for you, you treat me like shit, and I just put all that gas in your car to make sure you didn't freeze to death and die, and now you're gonna talk to me like that? And I was like, no, Mom, listen, that's not how this works. And her and I just were at it, and I ended up coming home, because it was just a weekend I went up to visit. And I ended up coming home early, and I was like, I'm fucking done. So that following week, that following weekend, they were coming to town. We were all going to go get our nails done together. Same, weekend spiel that we always did. And, she texted me, I think that like Wednesday or something like that, and was like, can you call Na and cancel our nail appointments? We're not going to be able to afford to come up this weekend. And I was like, well, can you do it? Because I'm at work. And she was like, oh, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay, fine. And then so Saturday comes, and she was like, did you call Na and tell her we canceled? And I was like, no, you said you were going to do it because I was at work. And you were like, oh, well, I did, but she didn't answer. And I was like, then how was I supposed to know you didn't tell me that? And she was like, oh, whatever, Nicole, always blaming shit on me. And I was like, but mom, look, you didn't tell me that you didn't get a hold of her. How was I supposed to know that? How was I supposed to be like, hey, guess what? We're not coming. And she's like, well, I thought you would tell her when you went. I was like, mom, I don't go unless you guys are coming. That's the only reason I go. And she was like, well, I'm on the phone with AT&T now dealing with all this bullshit, blah, 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 because her stupid ass lost the $200 gift cards. There was like $378 gift cards, $378 worth of gift cards left, and she fucking lost it. So, whatever. So her and I just argued back and forth, and I was like, you know what, mom, I'm busy. I got shit to do. So, like, are we done here? And she was like, oh, yeah, Nicole, always running away, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, God, what did I say? I was like, I'm real serious right now. I got shit to do. Leave me alone. And she's like, fine, you're left. And I was like, okay, bye. And she was like, you're such a fucking cunt. Like, she just went off on me. And she was like, you're such a piece of shit. I don't know why I put up with you and your bullshit all the time. You're nothing but a big ass crybaby, blah, 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 blah. Just fucking. And I was like, you know what, mom? That's fine. I'm done. And I clicked my phone off and I drove up to AT&T and I said, hey, look, I'm not paying for this phone bill anymore. It's not in my name. And not doing it anymore. So, like, I need my own phone number. And the dude was like, yeah, totally. And it was my favorite guy. Shout out to Joe at AT&T because he's fucking great. And he was like, yeah, I've got a crazy mom too. She lives in Ohio. And I was like, hey. And we bonded over having psycho moms, which seems to be a trend for me. All of my friends have crazy moms. Elise, Alex, hey. So I bonded with the AT&T guy over crazy mom. And so about 2 weeks went by before she tried to contact me because their phones got turned off. And she was like, you better turn my phone back on and pay that bill. And you're messing with my work and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, she sent this to me by email, by the way, because she had my phone number. And then, so when I didn't respond, 2 days later, she sends me another one and she was like, you owe me all that money. I just had to pay $600 to get the phones turned back on, blah, 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 blah. And you owe that to me, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, nope, didn't respond. So then she started like texting Sam and was like, you need to give me Nicole or tell Nicole to text me back. Because this whole time, this woman thinks that I'm still living off of her mercy on her phone and that I just let my phone get shut off too. That's what this woman thinks. And I'm just like, oh, that's so cute, honey. No, that's not at all what happened. So Sam was like, well, you know, and I told Sam, I was like, don't get involved, just don't. And so I emailed her back and I was like, hey, fucking leave Sam alone. And she was like, well, I wouldn't have had to text Samantha if you would have emailed me back. And I was like, listen, no. And so we got into an argument and I was like, what the fuck do you think I owe you $600 for? And she was like, I just had to pay all that money for that phone and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, guess what? I don't care. And then she said she was going to take me to court and sue me and take all of my things and take my car, which is really funny because the bitch signed the car over to me. I legally own it. So, whatever. And then I was just like, look, Mom, I'm done here. Like, so we had agreed that, well, then I said, if you want, because she said there were things that she wanted back and that they were going to be in town on my sister's birthday and that I could drop it off to them then. And I was like, well, if you want your shit back, I want my fucking TV. And she was like, yeah, we'll talk about you getting your TV back after you pay me that $600. And I was like, fuck no. And I was like, if that's how you're going to be, then you're not going to get any of your shit back. So fuck you. And then she's like, if you don't show up with that stuff, I'm calling the fucking police. And I was like, call them. And so then she kept sending threatening messages, and she was still calling Sam, and she was trying to get in contact with Amber, and like she was texting all of my friends, and at this point I was like, okay. So then Amber and I went to the police station, and I talked to a cop, and I filed a no contact order, and he was like, basically what happens here is she has 24 hours to flip the fuck out at you, try and contact you, try and find you. And then after that 24 hours, if she ever contacts you again, you can file harassment charges. And I was like, done. And he was like, but don't take this lightly. He was like, if you suddenly get nostalgic and you miss your mom and you call her and make up for 5 seconds and then you're fighting again and you call us and we find out about that, we're never going to help you again. And I was like, okay, understood. And so she called my dad. Me and Amber went to lunch. She called my dad right away, and my dad called me, and he was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I was like, are you fucking taking her side? Really? And he was like, why would you do something like that? You're ruining their lives, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what? How? How is me cutting off contact with them ruining their lives? It should be a fucking improvement. So that just, whatever. So I hung up on my dad, and I was like, if he's going to take their fucking side, I'm done. So that was like the brief moment where I was like, yeah, I'm done with my dad too. Like, fuck all y'all. Which, we're back to that again, by the way. And then, so I didn't show up on my sister's birthday to bring them back their stuff. Absolutely not. And, things got hard, and then everything happened with Jimmy, and my whole life in a span of 3 months completely fell apart. I lost my family here, and a little ways down the road, I lost Jimmy here. And it was just terrible. And now I'm looking back, and these things have changed me. I know who I am now. I didn't need her approval. I didn't need her guidance. I became my own person. I had to survive on my own. I didn't have anyone to fall back on. I mean, of course I had my friends. Aubrey came back. Her and I are closer than we've ever been in our entire lives. I trust her with my entire life. She's my best friend, and there's Sam, and she's always been there. We have our moments. She's got her own life. She's got a kid. She's got things. I've got things, but she's always there. And there's Alyssa, who's always there. These people, they're always there. And then there's the new people. There's Elise, who I've never felt so close to someone in such a short period of time. It's incredible, the connection that her and I have. And, it's just on several different levels. We have our fun sides, and then we have our serious side, and then we have this playful where we just hang out with her kid and do things. And I love that. And if I hadn't been able to separate myself away from my mom and from Jimmy and from the life that I was living up until a year ago, I wouldn't know any of this. I wouldn't feel any of this. And I've come out of my shell, and I've become a real person, not like a carbon copy, not what Jimmy wanted, not what my mom wanted, what I wanted. I really know who I am, and this is me. And I'm so proud of myself. And if it weren't for the people before mentioned, I wouldn't be who I am. These people have all helped me in different stages of my life. Sam was there every step of the way when my mom left. And I mean, there are people, that I don't talk to anymore that were the only ones who were there when Jimmy left. And And I'm grateful for them too, whether they know it or not. They were good friends at the time. But there's obviously a reason that they're not here right now, and I'm fine with that, because that made room for the people that really mattered. And I'm so grateful to be one of the few that were able to get their lives and figure themselves out. When you've been poisoned like that for so long, to believe that you are not good and that there is something wrong with you. A lot of times people don't make it out of that, and they either live the most miserable lives, which is what was happening to me. I was not happy. I was not a happy person. And so they either live their lives like that, or they don't live their lives at all anymore. And that's not okay. No one should have to live their lives, being whatever anyone else wants. And I'm so happy that I was able to pull myself out and find myself and become my own person after being told my whole life that I was a mistake, that I was fat, that I was ugly, that no one was going to love me, that no one cared about me. That was how I was raised to think of myself. I have zero self-confidence, and it's because that's how I was raised, to believe these things about myself. And then just a few people cut out, and I'm getting my life back. I'm meeting new people, I'm making friends, I'm having fun, which is not something that I really even know. I never knew what it was like to have fun, and now I do, and it's just been a really good life, the last, 2016, honest to God, going down in the books already, best year in quite some time, if all, this has been one of my best years, because I know who I am, and I know how to have fun, and I know how to just let go and stop caring about what anyone else thinks. So, this is my emotional coming out video, not in the gay way, not that there's anything wrong with that, but this is my life story, where my life started, where my real life started, back a year ago. So anything you see up until now is going to be a totally different person. And I've had so much fun making this video, and I'm sorry that it is so long. But if you actually do watch this, thank you. And find yourself. Don't be anyone that you don't want to be, because you're missing out, man. Okay. And now I'm done. And this was fun. Thank you so much for watching.